What's up, everybody? This is Steven, and let me see. I got my sound going. Jeff, you talk.
Testing?
Here we go, everybody. My name is Steven. I am the founder of EngageFamilyGaming.com, and it is time for the EFG show. That's right, everybody. It is Thursday night, 9 p.m. ish Eastern Standard Time, and it is time for myself, Steven, and my good buddy Jeff from the Frozen North to come together, and we're going to talk about all of the family friendly video game news that you could ever want to hear. This week I thought it was a slow week, and then it turns out that there was stuff that happened after the last show, so it makes things nice and easy. We get to talk about all the stuff that I found, including some information about a new Switch model. We got some images from the new Space Jam movie, which is not family gaming related, but it's awesome, so I get to talk about it because I'm in charge and no one can tell me otherwise. And then we're going to talk about the stuff from the Pokemon Direct last week because we had I'm sorry, not Pokemon Direct, Pokemon Presents, because last week was Pokemon Presents, and they gave us some earth-shattering news. Right?
Yes, I'm so excited to talk about it.
Man, so as always, chat, welcome to hanging out with us. This show is every Thursday, 9 p.m. We also post it over on YouTube. Oh, okay, so Mega Mom is saying I'm a little quiet. I will turn myself up. How about now, Kate? Hi, Mega Mom, EFG Superfan. How am I? Do I come in okay? Excuse me. Perfect. Great. I know I had to mess around with my audio for when I was doing the World of Warcraft show, which is every Monday around 8. And so that might have been it. Um, so if you like seeing me on Twitch here, definitely come check me out on Mondays where I play World of Warcraft with my good friend Dana. So Jeff, um,
Yes.
how you been? Good.
I,
I'm a
I,
little we're having a rough week here, rough day. My wife had her second injection yesterday, so she is just absolutely wrecked. So I am exhausted from being a caretaker.
yes, I remember the day after my second vaccine, and it was not fun. So,
Man, I haven't even gotten my first yet. I am not looking. I mean, I am looking forward to being done with it, but I'm not looking forward to this. I guess I'm just gonna have to play Switch games for a day in bed. Is what I'm just planning on. So, more likely than not, I'll probably just sleep. But I got Bravely Default 2 to play. So, all right, let's get to work because it turns out we do actually have a very busy show. While I was doing the prep all by myself, I was like, man, there's nothing to talk about. Whew, you came in and saved the day, Jeff. So, speaking of saving the day, you wear a number of hats here with us in Engaged Family Gaming. First and foremost, you put together March Madness. So, why don't you tell everybody about our project that we are unveiling officially next week?
yes, so tune in on March 11th because on the Engage Family Gaming Twitter, you will see polls go out for March Madness where we found the 64 best Super Nintendo Entertainment System games, and we are putting them and we rank them into
Brackets.
four sets into brackets. So just like the March Madness tournament, we ranked them into four sets of 16 games, number one seeds and number 16 seeds. Um, and we are pitting them against each other to find out which game reigns on top.
Yes. So next week, and we are going to do this every March. So last year, we did March Madness. That was wildly successful. This year, we're doing March Mad SNES, which I'm going to be real with you folks. Okay. Last year, people were mad because we had some heartbreaking matchups. I'm going to be super real with you, you sweet summer children, because the NES, like the NES had a bunch of great games, but like there was a drop off, right?
Yeah,
Every single one of these 64 Super Nintendo games is good. Like not just good, but these are all great games. And we kind of knew with the first one, look, it's going to be Super Mario Brothers 3, up against Legend of Zelda, very likely at the very end. We called it from the beginning. There wasn't much room for like a Cinderella story. You know what I mean? But like, yo, listen, NHL '94 is the truth, and that is in here. And the
Yeah,
right,
well, I'm
the
pretty sure it goes up against Super Mario World in its
you know
first match.
what? I'm gonna be real. The right group of Canadians shares it to the right hockey group, and it's curtains for Super Mario World. You know what I mean? Like this is where things are gonna get wild. Now, one thing that is worth mentioning is all of the polls are going to be run on Twitter. And the reason for that is you actually can't do polls on Facebook. So we're just letting everybody know now. We're going to be putting the polls up every evening, probably around 6 o'clock Eastern, between 6 and 7 every night. And they're going to be put up on Twitter. So if you don't have a Twitter account, you have time to go do that. Um, it ultimately comes down to you can't do polls on Facebook. And it was very cumbersome in September when we did PlayStember Madness, which is we did that for the celebration of the PlayStation. Moving forward, we're just going to be doing the brackets every March. Next year, I think we're going to have to not be console restricted. We'll figure that out. But so anyway, so that's March Madness. You and the other community manager, Mike, have been hard at work getting the graphics design done. The bracket is gorgeous looking. You guys are going to love it when we unveil
Yeah,
it.
and
Yeah,
I
it
will
looks
say
nice.
I found the games I made the list. I will give Mike all the credit. I went, "Hey Mike, can you make this?" And he said yes, and he made it.
I mean, but you guys still been working together on the whole program, so I'm going to give you a little bit of credit. Let's I'm going to let you um we are going to let you bask in the glory of your hard work. But so next week is our bracketology episode. That's when we're going to go through the brackets and talk about our thoughts and or feelings about all of the matchups, and it is going to be wondrous. So if you want to make sure, you're definitely going to want to make sure and come hang out next week. It might be a longer episode than normal because bracketology is bracketology. We got to show respect, but we will be here. Um, all right, Jeff. Another job you do because you keep giving yourself work to do.
I keep
Um,
giving myself work.
yeah, this is your busy season. Speaking of your busy season, you also scour the internet for all of the family-friendly video games that come out each week. You publish a list on the Engage Family Gaming Facebook page, which those watching you can get to by going to engagefamilygaming.com/Facebook, and and then you take that information and you publish it as a blog post on the Engage Family Gaming website. Jeff, tell me what games are on that list. What games came out this week?
Yeah, so this is the week from Sunday, February 25th through Saturday, March 5th. So on Sunday, February 28th, we had Lawnmower Game Next Generation on Switch. On Monday, March 1st, we had A Glider's Journey on Switch and Gunslugs 2 on Switch. Tuesday, March 2nd, we had Harvest Moon One World on PS4 and Switch. And we had Maquette on PS5. And that game is also a PS Plus for PS5
You got it.
owners. And if you don't have a PlayStation 5 yet, but you plan on getting one or you have PlayStation Plus, from the website, you can still add it to your library. I wish I would have known that back when Bug Snacks was part of it. I would have definitely added it. But,
What are you gonna do,
and
right?
yeah, but I will say the hour before I got on here, I actually decided to play Maquette just to see what it was like. And
Okay.
and so it, it makes me think of The Witness. Have you played The Witness?
I have not, because I'm bad at
Well,
because
I'm not great
I'm
at
bad at
puzzle
puzzle
games.
games.
I'm not great at puzzle games either, unless it's like Picross or something. But so, not going into too many spoilers with the game, each level has like the central hub, which is just a replica model of the area you're working in. And so, like for example, I went through this replica model and there was this giant block in my way when I was going through the actual stage. I went back to the model and there was a little block the same size as the giant block. So I
Okay.
moved it out of the way and then the giant block disappeared.
Huh.
Then I went and continued on my way and I found a little tiny bridge and I took that little tiny bridge and I brought it back to the model and I dropped it into the spot where a bridge was missing in the model. Then it showed up in the big area, and it's just a bunch of that back and forth.
I definitely feel too stupid to play that game. However, I am. It's. I mean, it's cost $0, so I'm sure I will play it on the PlayStation 5 because I have PlayStation Plus.
Yep, and there's
Um,
so few games coming out on PlayStation 5 right now, so it's kind of a nice get a new one there.
yeah, absolutely.
And it's made by Annapurna Interactive, so their games always are, I guess, weird.
Yeah, no, Annapurna does some weird stuff, but it's always great. I mean,
It is.
they don't make bad games. So
Yeah, no, I haven't played all of them, but I need to play more of them. I've played Donut County, which was great. That's also on Game Pass. If you haven't, I say if you have not played Donut County, play it. It's like a 3 or 4 hour game. Again, another great game they have. What Remains of Edith Finch. I say if you see Annapurna on the as the publisher developer, I'm not sure which one they
publisher.
are. Publisher, make sure to check them out.
Yeah, absolutely. They make great stuff. Not always family friendly, but always weird
Yeah.
and always worthwhile.
So, all right, continuing on Tuesday, we also had Monster Jam Steel Titans 2 for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, Neptunia Virtual Stars on PS4, and Paco Caravan on Switch. Wednesday, March 3rd, we had 3 out of 10 Season 1 on Switch, Cave Bad on Switch, Gravifier on Xbox One and Switch, Sir Love-A-Lot, or Sir Love-Lot on Xbox One and Switch, and Wind Peaks on Switch. On Thursday, March 4th, we had County Recon The First Mission on Switch, Duel on Board for Switch, Estranged The Departure for Switch, Everhood for Switch, Give It Up Bouncy for Switch, I cannot pronounce it, Nosha for Switch, Into a Dream for PS4 and Switch, Kill It With Fire for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, Mail Mole for Switch, Pixel Game Maker Series Puzzle Pedestrians for Switch. Try
Okay.
saying, try saying that game 5 times fast. Runeverse for Switch, Sea of Solitude: The Director's Cut for Switch, Sticky Monsters for Switch, and Super Met Boy for Switch. Not to be confused with Super Meat Boy, which is an amazing platformer.
All right, and that's it.
Nope.
Okay.
Friday, March 5th, we had America Wild Hunting on Switch, As Divine Cross for Xbox One and Series X, Doug Hates His Job for Switch, 2 Point Hospital Jumbo Edition for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, and Under Leaves for Xbox One.
Okay. What was your pick of the week?
So my pick of the week has changed. So really, I wanted to pick 2 Point Hospital, but it was just a deluxe edition, and the original game's already on Switch. That game's fun. Check it out on Game Pass if you haven't. I picked Nosha because that was in the Indie Direct.
Okay.
It was part of the Indie Direct, if you remember, and it made me think of Among Us, because you're trying to find out who the imposter was, but it's kind of in a visual novel style. But I
Okay.
think since I played it this morning or this afternoon, Maquette is going to be my pick of the week now. So I changed my pick of the week after I played it and actually seen what the game's about.
I'll allow it. Absolutely, I'll allow it. You're allowed to change things whenever you want, right?
Yep.
There are no cops. You can change. So that is, so that's the release list. Let's get into the news because there is just a ton. We're gonna save the Pokemon stuff till last because we just got a couple, quick hits. First thing, we're gonna head into the screen sharing mode because I want to talk about Space Jam. So Space Jam came out when I was, I think, a junior in high school. I think. I know you were like in kindergarten or something, Jeff. I get it.
96.
Yeah,
I would have been in like second or third grade.
yeah, I know. So I was a junior in high school, um, and I went to go see it, and I mean, whatever, it was cool because because that's when I was big into basketball because I was riding the pine and get watching basketball while on the basketball team. And so I was all in on Space Jam. And so a new Space Jam just is exactly what I need right now. So we got our first images courtesy of Entertainment Weekly. So we're gonna go into the screen sharing mode, and I'm gonna show you guys the cover of the new Entertainment Weekly showing LeBron James. Here we go. Okay, so this is absolutely amazing. It's exactly what I was expecting. Mega Mom saying she was old enough to think she was too cool for Space Jam. The reality, Kate, is you probably were too cool for Space Jam. I get that. I was not. So I unironically love that first game. And so this is the cover of Entertainment Weekly. It looks exactly like we think it's going to be LeBron James with the Looney Tunes, which honestly, this what's interesting about this is I don't know if any of my kids can identify all of these Looney Tunes. Like I think my kids could identify like Jeff, could your daughter
Right.
identify any of these characters?
I don't think she could identify any of them. Like we don't watch the Looney Tunes in our house. I bet I have them. You know, we recently have HBO Max over the last couple months, but she doesn't really watch on that. I need to like turn them on and let her watch them.
I mean, do you need to? I don't think there's like there's no like code. Um but I this is one thing where I don't know. You know what? Hold on. Jake, come here. I'm going to ask my 12-year-old if he
I'm
can
going
identify.
to guess he can name
What?
two of them, maybe three.
Come here for a sec, Jake.
Okay.
Can you tell me who these cartoon characters are?
That's the Bugs Bunny guy.
Yeah.
The Bugs
That's
Bunny
like a
guy.
that's I forget the name, but it's a bird from
Thank
a
you.
cartoon.
Okay, that's a bird. Okay.
I don't.
Do you know who that is?
It's like I know the cartoon he's from, but I forget his name.
Okay, what about this guy?
Duck.
Duck. Okay, so we're in rough shape. So my 12-year-old
So we have Bugs
and do you know who
Bunny
she
guy.
is?
The furry.
It's not a furry.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So for the people in the audience, yep, we do this live by the way. So that is Bugs Bunny and Lola Bunny and Daffy Duck and the Tasmanian Devil and Tweety Bird. Do you know who the athlete on the cover is?
One of the.
Do you know who the dude was?
No,
Wow.
To be perfectly honest,
I don't.
if
pay
I
attention
already
to old
didn't know it was
cartoons.
LeBron James, I wouldn't be
These
able to
are
recognize him either.
Cartoons from before I paid attention to cartoons.
Okay. So
He just called you old, by the way.
he definitely did just call me old. 100% just caught me cold. He 100% just called me old. So
Kind of both of us, because I grew up watching the Tiny Toons.
oh yeah, he wrecked you also. So and then they gave us a little picture of him from the movie, or at least this is a promotional image of him doing some sweet dunk action with a. This looks like him out of like the MCU though. Who knows? Maybe he is inside the whatever the anomaly is in WandaVision. So Mega Mom says he's one of the very few basketball players that she recognizes on sight. I mean, that makes sense. He's like the face of the organization. So, excuse me, and has been for more than a decade. So there we go.
I'm really hoping that maybe Michael Jordan can have a cameo.
I would assume that he would because he's still alive.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's not that old. I think he's only in his 50s, isn't it? Or is he 60s? Maybe he's 60s now.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
we still isn't that old. But I'm just hoping he can make a cameo. That's all I'm asking for because, and I think that's one thing why I really gravitated towards the Space Jam movies. So I grew up, my aunt.
Michael Jordan is 58 years old, by the way.
Oh, wait, so he's not even in his 60s. Yeah, I was right, 50s. So I grew up with an aunt who was a huge Chicago Bulls fan and mainly a Michael Jordan fan. And like when she went to college, she gave me all her stuff. I had a cutout, one of those cardboard cutouts of Michael Jordan that was in my room.
You know what? I think I did too. Mega Mom says she really likes the amount of charity work that LeBron James does, which is absolutely correct. He is not just a basketball player, but he is a humanitarian. And so when he finally retires, whenever he does, I would expect that he will be doing great things well into the, well into his retirement. So that is, again, not family gaming related at all. This is totally me just being self-indulgent and just wanted to talk about LeBron James for a minute and talk about Space Jam. So this is going to be coming to, it's a Warner Brothers, obviously, because it's got the Looney Tunes. So this is going to be coming to HBO Max. I was on vacation today, bro. I mean, that's
I was
not.
gonna say, are you going back to work right now?
No, I was on vacation today, and I'm off tomorrow. Also, I don't know what the heck is going on for me, but so that is so that's that news again. Totally just being obnoxious and
Yeah. Now,
self-indulgent.
if you want to watch it on HBO Max, just a warning for these Warner Brother movies that are coming to HBO Max is that you need to make sure it's only going to be up there for 30 days.
Yep, they did that with that, and that's not something I didn't know that until I saw a tweet that was like, "Hey, you have to watch Wonder Woman in like a day, or it's gone," and so then we had to watch it. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
because they're still going into theaters, and so that's kind of, I think it's their way of kind of getting that money that they're losing from the theaters being no one wanting to go.
yeah, and
So
also they can say that the movies were actually released because they put them out on HBO Max. It makes sense to me. Listen, if this is good on HBO Max, I will 100% go see it when it goes into the theaters, assuming they are safe. Like if they just put it on HBO Max and it's cool, and then I can go watch it and do stupid stuff when it's in theaters, I will totally do that when it is safe to go see them. So that is the first thing. Next, so Mistwalker, which is Hironobu Sakaguchi, who is of Final Fantasy fame, has a new RPG coming to Apple Arcade, and it is called Fantasian. Now, normally we don't talk about Apple Arcade stuff, but I actually am fairly confident that this game is going to go on to Apple Arcade. It was likely signed as an exclusive, and it's going to end up on consoles eventually. What's interesting about this one is it is a turn-based role-playing game, much like we are used to from the Gooch, and all of the backgrounds. I'm trying to see. We'll watch the trailer with no sound because I know Jeff can't see it and it's annoying. And I'm trying to scroll through because this just looks like regular old RPG stuff, right? But the backgrounds are they look like dioramas. And so I'm trying to get to what one looks like. To the point where some of the battle scenes, pardon me while I click through, hopefully this doesn't make anybody sick. Oh, that's loud. I can't get it to come up. But so we'll just leave it playing while we talk about it. So this is a very Final Fantasy. This is a Final Fantasy ass video game if I have ever seen one. But the big catch with this game is that all of the battlegrounds look like dioramas. So it looks like they're running around in these really cool, like handmade, like model environments. I just don't know why they're not showing them in this. But this is like a story trailer. I mean, don't these look like Final Fantasy characters to you? Like,
yeah, this looks cool. I haven't heard of this because I don't follow like mobile gaming or anything.
yeah, this is coming
And
to Apple Arcade. And what's cool about this is, the thing about Apple Arcade is you can play it on Mac or on Apple TV, with a controller. So this is one of those like, man, if I could get a decent Apple TV for not a lot of money, I might kind of grab one just so I can play some games like this because it's $5 a month for Apple Arcade. I don't know if I want to play it on mobile though.
yeah, that's the thing. But I feel like it's one of those games that once the exclusivity deal is done, as long as it's getting good reviews and
Oh, this is
people,
going to come to Switch.
yeah,
Absolutely, this is coming to Switch. So that is Fantasian. It's cool, right?
yeah,
We love The according to Game Informer, the story takes place in a multi-dimensional universe where the balance of chaos and order is in flux. So like New Jersey. um, so let's see here. And you begin as a character who has lost their memories. There we go. That's
I've never
two
heard of that in
JRPG
an
tropes.
RPG.
Huh? Yeah, I never heard that. This is going to be a tropey as all get out JRPG. But I don't care. Sometimes I just want to play a stupid role playing game, and this looks like this cover image right here screams stupid role playing game to me. So I'm all in for that. So, um, the next piece of news is we got word from Bloomberg that Nintendo is and and this is where I'm starting to believe it. You know, this is where there's smoke, there's fire situation. Bloomberg has reported that starting in June, and there will be production starting on a new model of the Nintendo Switch. It's going to have a 7-inch, 720p OLED screen, which is bigger. And currently, I believe the Switch is a 420p LCD. So this is going to be more pixels, more responsive screen. And it's going to be, when docked, able to go to 4K. That's what Bloomberg is reporting. And there have been rumors about this before, but now that Bloomberg is reporting on it, I think this is probably a pretty good assessment of what it's going to be. So whether it be like a Nintendo Switch Pro or a Nintendo Switch XL, the 7-inch screen is big.
Yeah, that's about the size of your standard iPad, isn't it?
I don't know. I know
Uh,
that 7 inches is significantly bigger than the current Switch screen.
IGN did a mock-up of the supposed Switch Lite versus original Switch versus supposedly this Switch. So search IGN if you want to see how it compares to what I think the current Switch Lite is 5.5 inches and it's like 6.3 inches for.
Hey, guess who has magical powers and can make it so that people don't have to go look? Me. I can do it. I'm gonna go find it. So keep it up. Keep talking, and we're gonna go.
Well, as I was just saying, the original Switch right now is I think 6.3 inches or something like that, and so they showed them side by side like how much difference that would be, and pretty much you take the original Switch instead of all those black bars around the screen, it would just fill up the whole area up into the Joy-Con.
Yeah, pretty much. Basically, there's no bezel. Around the edge. That sounds fine to me. You know what? I'm actually having trouble finding it. Um, let's see here. Let me Google otherwise. But you know what? I can't find it. We're gonna go ahead without it. Although they did give me a link to a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons game that is for Pokemon. So I will be looking at that. It's an unofficial Pokemon 5th edition book. So that I will look at. Um, so this is so the word on this. The word from Bloomberg is the parts are going to be made in June, sent for assembly in July, and for release somewhere after that. We don't know the specific details yet as far as price. We don't know what they're gonna, when it's gonna be released, but one has to assume sometime after July, but I would say probably before the holiday. It looks like their target is to sell about 1 million of these a month, and I think that is very possible considering how fast the Switch sells. This would make it the 3rd Switch in the line, which I think could be a little overwhelming. Fortunately, I am very comfortable saying we will have an explainer up on EngageFamilyGaming.com as soon as we possibly can, explaining the differences between all 3 Switch models, and we'll be sharing that liberally across our socials for the rest of time.
Yeah, and I mean 3 iterations of a console, like it sounds crazy, but Xbox did it last generation.
True, they did. The difference is they did that last Xbox did that and was like phasing out some of their stuff, right? Like these are presumably three Switches that will be sold concurrently, continue to be made for for the remainder of the Switch's lifetime, and I think that's a little bit different because like the OG Xbox, they stopped making it. Like the original Xbox One, the launch edition, they stopped making it when they had the S um and the Xbox One X. So they were selling it, but they were just selling out stock. Here, I would expect that they're making all three of these forever. But, you know, we got Kate in the chat. EFG Superfan says that Jeremy, her husband, would be happy to hear that. He's been hoping for 4K. I know. He's mentioned that to me in some of our private conversations. And I agree. I mean, the reality is if they can make a system that does it, I think that's going to make a lot of people happy. I personally don't need it. You know, I don't need Breath of the Wild to look better. It already looks great. However, more power does mean that other games will be able to get on there with, and we'll see more third-party support. Not that there isn't already, but there are games that will run better, and there will games that will look nicer, and that will attract, hopefully, some of the bigger games. But also, I think there are games that already find their way on Switch that this could just help them. You know, I think of games like Samurai Warriors 5, right, that they just kind of revealed at the last Nintendo Direct.
Or
Like
even
Moose
Hyrule Warriors.
needs,
Too,
yeah,
too much happening on the screen, and it would start to chug along.
yeah. So giving more horsepower for those kinds of games, like maybe we're never gonna get Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Switch, right? This is not gonna happen. But having a little boost of hardware might make, you know, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order or you know, Muso games.
I just hope if they're going to make a new iteration of the Switch that they give it more than 32 gigabytes hard drive.
I don't know, man. Probably, but I don't know. I have no idea. I was asked earlier today whether or not I was excited for this announcement, and I'm not. And it's not because. And here's what it really comes down to. This just feels like Nintendo sending me a bill. Like I'm gonna buy it, of course. Like I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna enjoy it while it's here. So like I'm not hype about it because it really just feels like Nintendo's like, here, dude, we're making a new one. It's cool. Like I wish they would just send it to my house and just auto charge my checking account. Like I just save me the step. Can I just subscribe? Like just permanently pre-order to all their consoles and most of their games. If they would give me that option, I would probably do it. Just to,
Yeah,
because I mean, we're gonna buy it. So
yeah, and though it makes me wonder though, do you think they will have exclusive games for this new iteration?
yeah, I do. I do.
Because they
They did
tried
it with the 3DS.
and it wasn't successful. You notice they came out with Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, and then they kind of just, then they're like, oh, Hyrule Warriors can run on both, but it will perform better on new 3DS.
Yeah, but that was if they put out Breath of the Wild 2 and make it exclusive, they'll do it. Like I feel like they will. I want to be wrong, but I feel like they will because the reason they're doing this is to attract games, and maybe Nintendo might not do it with their own games. Excuse me, but I guarantee that some of the third party games will be exclusive to the new one because so that at least that's my prediction. I'm not a betting man. I ain't gonna bet with anybody. That has been ruined, but that's how I think. What do you guys in the chat think? Are they going to have exclusive games? I'd be interested to hear. So let's move on. So that's the report. We're going to obviously report on that as we go. Nintendo has said they have no plans to make an announcement, but they said they had no plans to announce a Switch Lite, and then they literally the next day announced it. So, I mean, I know companies lie about announcements, so, like, I don't even know why we ask. I mean, I know they have to. So, Megamom says, I think there will be exclusive games, especially if the new Switch has better graphics. That's it. It's hard to argue with that. It's hard to argue with that. All right, so last week, Friday, what was it, like obnoxious early o'clock? They held a
No,
Pokemon Presents.
it was at 10.
Was it 10? That's
Yeah,
not bad.
it
All right,
was
that's
7
not bad.
Pacific.
It felt early for
No,
me.
the bad part is it dropped right in the middle of a meeting I had for work.
I mean, so you didn't skip your meeting?
No,
You,
the meeting was from 9:30 to 10:30.
oh
I
man,
couldn't.
man. I am Evan 100% asked if he could go remote so he could watch it, and I was like, dude, I'm not having you go remote for the day just so that you can stay home and watch a Pokemon Direct. I can't. You can watch it on the bus on the way home. You have a phone. So, Jeff, give us the rundown. What was announced during
All right.
Pokemon Presents?
So besides, your typical 25th anniversary, specials for Pokemon Go and Pokemon Masters, which it did start out with a really cool video that went through everything in the history of Pokemon.
Um,
And
yeah,
it,
I'm actually looking up that video right now. I'm gonna play it because I'm gonna play it without sound in the background. Because it's really
because
cool.
it's really cool to be like Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, anime, and it just like show everything going through. Um, and so that was really cool. And you know, then it announced that they will be making remakes of the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl called Brilliant Diamond or Brilliant Pearl and Shining Diamond, something like that.
Yep.
And so those to me look cool. I will say I kind of have a soft spot for Diamond and Pearl because I played Red and Blue, Gold and Silver, and then Ruby and Sapphire came out. I did have a Game Boy Advance. I was in college, not college,
Okay.
high school. I was in high school, fell off, graduated high school, and for my graduation gift, my aunt got me a DS Lite, and the game I picked to get with it was Pokemon Pearl.
Okay.
So Diamond and Pearl is where I got back into Pokemon. And it looks okay. It doesn't look like as much of a grounds up remake as when they went from Ruby and Sapphire to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire because they're kind of keeping the same art style, but they said they're going to have a lot of the more modern stuff, so I'm hoping that means there are going to be no HMs.
That is that's what they said. They said they were going to be doing a remake that was faithful, but with some of the modern, um, kind of modern quality of life adjustments.
Which to me means there's going to be no HMs and they're probably going to have the experience share.
I mean, that sounds great to
That
me.
does, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see exactly what they do. I have no attachment to these older Pokemon games. Pokemon has been a blind spot for me for a while. I love the idea of those games, and I've played the modern ones. However, there's they are not my favorite franchise. So to gauge how excited I should be, I went and asked my kids, and my oldest was not excited about Diamond and Pearl. Now he said that he wanted to play them, right? However, his big thing, and I get it, is that all of the previous remakes were taking earlier games and then remaking them using the art style of the whatever the most recent generation is.
Yeah.
Whereas this looks like they did a kind of more stylish remake, where they tried to be a little bit more faithful rather than taking Diamond and Pearl and make it look like Sword and Shield. And
And oops, sorry, go on.
no, that was it. I was just gonna say, and
Oh.
for him, he was not super pleased with that. With that said, I mean, he still wants to play them, and our daughter is pretty excited because she likes. I mean, she's just into everything, and doesn't really think critically about it. But my sons were concerned. I think
Yeah, and I think I lost my train of thought.
it's all right.
It'll come to me.
It'll
I
come to you.
can't.
By the
I
way, we're
have.
playing in the background the 25 years of Pokemon Celebration video, which kind of goes through chronologically everything that happened starting. And this is just such a really well done video. So we're just kind of putting that in the background while we talk about it.
Got my thought. I think the reason that it's looking more like Diamond and Pearl, it's going to be more of a faithful remake, is because this isn't being explicitly developed by Game Freak. They're going with another company to develop it, with Game Freak overseeing it.
Okay. I mean, that could do it.
So, and if I, people can correct me wrong. I don't think this company. I mean, I'm sure this company's made games before, but I don't think Game Freak's done that for a mainline Pokemon game where they haven't been the people doing everything.
That is truthfully something that I am not sure of, but I mean,
I mean,
I
it's got to just be if I type in
yeah, you go ahead. And so for
like,
me, I would say a faithful reproduction. I don't think necessarily that the art style of Sword and Shield really matches the they're different games, right? Diamond and Pearl was very, because it was a traditional old school RPG, it was all right angles and, stuff like that. So the Sword and Shield don't have that. So I think it would have been much more challenging to have this game come out. Obviously, Nintendo fans, some of the Pokemon fans are upset, and I certainly don't want to discount that. People
yeah.
have a right to
So
be, as long as they're not being like mean. Like you can be mad and not buy a thing. By all means, save yourself $60. Go buy something you're excited about. I mean, Lord knows we all need our retail therapy, and if that is not going to come from if you're just going to hate buy a Pokemon game or whatever, just spend it on $60 on a game that you want to play.
yeah, and so to answer that question, so I went to the last remakes, which were Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. And if you go on there, well, not on Wikipedia, but Bulbapedia, which is the Pokemon Encyclopedia online.
Yep.
Uh, so it was developed by Game Freak and published by Nintendo and the Pokemon Company.
Yep.
And then I went to the Brilliant Diamond, or what's it called? Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl
Which are
page.
great names, by the way.
Yeah, I do like the names. And it says developed by Ilka Inc. and published by Nintendo and the Pokemon Company. So, yeah. So I think this is the first time they've used an outside company to develop a mainline Pokemon game. Which, I mean, because, and we'll talk about it in just a little bit, um, Game Freak's making another game. But it makes me kind of nervous because this is the first time they've done it. So I think there's a lot of high expectations for it as well.
Well, we will find out. These remakes are coming out this fall. Now, speaking of games that we are excited about, bring us home, buddy. Tell us about Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Arceus, which, like a lot of people I found out, I'm not the only one found out they've been pronouncing Arceus wrong this whole time.
I have 100% been pronouncing it. In fact, I recorded a emergency episode of the Engaged Family Gaming podcast with Amanda Friday morning and was corrected by the middle of the afternoon by EFG Superfan, Mega Mom, and her husband. They both listened. They both corrected me. And I appreciate it because I thought it was Arceus forever.
Yeah, me too. And I guess because I never watched the anime at that point, so I never actually heard the name said.
Yeah.
And it's actually funny because, like, you all know I do the Pokemon Snapshot. My co-host Tyler, I'm always correcting him on how to pronounce Pokemon names because he watched the anime, but he didn't pay attention to it or watch it multiple times. So as he would always say, he goes, I've only ever seen a lot of these names just written down.
Yep.
I've never actually heard them said. But no, Pokemon Legends Arceus looks cool. It is set in the past in Sinnoh, where
Yep.
they use Pokeballs. Man, choosing a starter is going to be hard.
And who are those starters?
So you can choose between Cyndaquil, Oshawott or Rowlet.
So why did they pick those two? Or those three, rather?
I have no idea. None of them are the Sinnoh starters.
Oh, EFG Supervan Megamom says her eldest corrects their pronunciation all the time. That doesn't surprise me, and same here. My boys correct me regularly when I say Pokemon wrong. So I know why they chose Oshawott. It's because he turns into a samurai.
Yeah, I mean, Cyndaquil just turns into a giant version of itself, and Rowlet just turns into an emo owl.
But he's an archer.
He is an archer, so
I don't know.
maybe.
I mean,
Let's see.
Oshawott makes sense because he turns into a samurai. That at least I accept.
Yeah, but Typhlosion? What's so special about Typhlosion that it fits the theme?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know.
But I mean, I love all three of those starters, so that's really cool. The game, I mean, and this is another thing. Before they came out with the Switch Pro, people were like, "Man, this game it was kind of chugging along." Which they have a year in development. I'm not gonna fault them for that. But could this be a Switch Pro launch title?
Maybe. Maybe. They said this game is coming out in early 2022. That, sir, is a lie. There's no way this game is coming out in spring of 2022. I think that this will be a late summer, possibly even holiday of 2022 game. With that said, I think this looks great. I love the idea of a action role playing game Pokemon where you are kind of hiding in fields and moving around and trying to sneak up on Pokemon and trying to catch them. You still have Pokeballs, which is kind of inexplicable to me, but I am over it. It looks great. I mean, I am very excited for what this does and what this means. It is a different kind of Pokemon. Go ahead.
They actually said, they used the word action RPG with it.
They did. They referred to it as an action RPG, which is very, very exciting. I mean, there ain't no other way around it. It's very exciting. Typhlosion sounds like a terrible illness symptom. Like you got something wrong with you because you got a typhlosion. Yeah, that does sound pretty rough. So the only criticism I have about the hype around that announcement, and this is really, I kept seeing people call this the Breath of the Wild of Pokemon games.
So as you say that, I hate it when people make that. Like they act like Breath of the Wild is its own genre now.
All right, good. I'm glad that you got specific because yeah, I agree. Like, just because it is an action role playing game does not mean that it is the Breath of the Wild thing. Because there are dozens of open world action RPGs that are released every year that are not Breath of the Wild. Now, they did do some of the same camera work in this trailer that they did in the Breath of the Wild trailer. Like, I get it. Like, they definitely wanted to evoke it, and it certainly looks it, right?
You know
but
what my favorite Breath of the Wild like game is?
What?
Grand Theft Auto 5. That's what I compare the comparison to. It's like you're just comparing an open world game.
Yeah, I get it.
And if it overlooks a grassy field, it's a Breath of the Wild type. It's like no game's ever overlooked a grassy field before.
Yes. With that said, the counterpoint to that is, man, they certainly tried to evoke those emotions, and we'll find out. It's hard pressed for people to just start comparing. That was the best video game Nintendo has ever made. Full stop. So
yeah, and I understand. I mean, they did the same with Immortals: Phoenix Rising, and
but Immortals Phoenix. But here's the thing, though. Immortals Phoenix Rising really tried to emulate that feel. So like that, I kind of
it did. And I'm gonna probably get a bunch of hate on the internet. Don't cancel me. I think it did it better than Breath of the Wild.
You're nuts. And wrong. We're not gonna get canceled. Canceling is not a thing. But I'm not gonna hang up the call because it would disrupt the stream, and that's not cool. You crazy? I've played that game just like you did. It is not better than Breath of the Wild. You're mad. That's just madness in this direction. However, um, this is interesting. We're gonna find out. Obviously, we're gonna find out more. They said they were gonna give us more. Does it have a grappling hook? If so, you are right. Listen, it doesn't actually. So it doesn't have a grappling hook. So, um, but I'm sure Breath of the Wild 2 will have a grappling hook. Like the missing hook shot type device in Breath of the Wild, um, it definitely is getting fixed. But no, Immortals Phoenix Rising did not have it. So, we're obviously going to find out more about this game as we get closer to release. They say it's going to be next spring. I believe that is a lie. They're going to put that, but I think it's probably next year, and that's fine. This is wild that we're getting this.
Yeah, I'll be there buying it day one.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
This is one of our most anticipated video games for next year, so I am super duper stoked to get a chance to play it and see more about it. With that said, Jeff, we did it.
Wait, we're missing one other thing that happened with Pokemon this
What
last
did they
week.
announce?
They didn't announce anything, but there was a Post Malone concert.
Oh, there was a Post Malone concert. Did you watch it?
I did.
I watched the music video for him covering the Hootie and the Blowfish song, and I know people made a big deal about it being like super weird, but like if Post Malone just covered "I Only Want to Be with You" and it wasn't related to Pokemon, I think it would have just been cool because it's a good song. Hootie and the Blowfish is a cool band, and Post Malone is, I mean, an interesting fellow, but it wasn't a bad version.
I will definitely say I'm glad he wasn't actually there in person and it was just like a computer generated version of him.
I mean, he is a weird looking dude, but
He, yeah. And
I
the
am
back
not one to judge about weird looking dudes. So
the backgrounds and everything looked really cool and it was fun. My wife and daughter it was only about 15 minutes and my wife and daughter watched it with me and my daughter would go, "What's that one's name?" And so I'm there naming them for her as all these Pokemon go around. Just saying, I can't wait till Katy Perry's. That's the one. I think that'll be a good one to watch too.
when is that one going to be?
They haven't announced dates for any of the other bands.
Sure. I mean, I thought it was fine. It was fine. It was cool. Um, so let's see. We got some comments. Mega Mom says if Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't have a hook shot, Jev will be the saddest. And then Jev coming in saying it's got to have a grapple hook. I don't, I don't know what he means by that, but you mean like which game was the grappling hook like from Wind Waker? Um, a shovel. I agree with that. Fishing and a musical instrument. Yeah, you're probably right. Fishing. There wasn't fishing. No, you're right. There wasn't. I'm tired, guys.
I mean, you could shock things in a river,
Yeah.
take out dead fish.
I just threw bombs.
Fishing.
I just threw bombs.
What is the definition of fishing?
No, he's talking legit because I kept remembering that I definitely caught fish, but I caught them with bombs. He's talking like legit, like casting into a thing. Okay, so he wants a grappling hook, a claw shot, or a hook shot. He wants one of those shenanigans to help get from place to place. Considering how broken speedrunning Breath of the Wild is, could you imagine? All right, just imagine this for a moment. Using the freeze time thing on using the freeze time thing on a tree, and then chopping down a tree, freeze timing it as it's about to fall, then dumping a bunch of inertia into it by hitting it, jumping on that tree, and then while you are in midair, flying like throughout Hyrule, and then you jump, get in your glider, and then get out a hook shot, and getting into like weird places with that. Like this game is going to be bananas. Jeff says that he can imagine it, and it is still a requirement, likely because that's what he wants. Listen, if you ever want to be like really just look up Breath of the Wild trick shots on YouTube. The things people do with that video game, I don't even know. So anyway, we did it. We
You
covered.
missed his great joke there. Hoot hoot in the quillfish.
Who didn't look? Oh, I totally didn't even notice it was a joke. I just thought he was just typing random stuff in the chat. So so anyway, we did it. We made it to the end of the EFG show. Everybody, I hope you guys have a great week. We will be back next week. This video on demand will be posted on the Engage Family Gaming YouTube page. Just search Engage Family Gaming on YouTube. We will be posting this tomorrow. I would love it if everybody watching this would go over there and do a like and a comment to help make sure that it gets seen by the algorithms. That would be super helpful for me. I will share it into the community once that is done because we're going to be trying to get these videos over onto YouTube now that I found out that it's way easier to get things onto YouTube than I ever thought that it would be. In fact, we already have the thumbnail and everything, so I might even be able to get it published first thing tomorrow after I watch WandaVision. So everybody, you have a great night. We will see you next Thursday. And until next time, don't forget
To get your family game on.
We'll see y'all soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.